thank you for being here today to acknowledge and recognize our Williamson County employees with 30 years worth of service. It is always an honor, always delightful to be able to say thank you to our many, many employees. We're going to do like we have done in the past. We will call upon the different statutory elected officials or department heads to say a few words about the employees that have worked with them for these many years. So I think the first one over there is Jeff Whidbey. Is that correct? The clerk's up first. And if you would, but I have a mic, I can fade away, but if you would come up to the podium here so that they can capture this on the TV. Jeff, would you come on up here and thank you.
Sorry, hello. I actually kind of wasn't prepared for this, but Debbie Stevens is our employee that's been here 30 years. Debbie is fantastic. I've had the pleasure of working with Debbie as a coworker, and then now as my employee as the clerk. And one good thing about Debbie, she's always reliable, she's dependable, and I know that she's where she's supposed to be and doing what she's supposed to be doing. Sometimes that's not always the case with some other things, but Debbie is great. I appreciate it. She does have a fault. She's a Vanderbilt fan, but other than that, she had a hard time walking across there. That might have been why my grandmother hired her, to be honest with you. I don't know, because she's a huge fan too. So, but we really appreciate Debbie. Obviously, you know, she actually has her arm in a sling right now, but dedicated employee she is. She's here at the office. So I just want to say thank you, Debbie, for your years of service for me and to my grandmother and to the county. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right.
Debbie, thank you for your many years of service. Next up, we have the Health Department, Kathy Montgomery. If you will come up, please, with Brenda. And they will, there you are, help you out.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Wanted to tell you a little bit about our friend Brenda Jones, who has been with us or been with the county for 30 years. Brenda is actually old Williamson County. She was actually born in this county in this particular building when it was the Williamson County Hospital. She attended Hillsborough Elementary and middle schools and graduated from Franklin High School. But she asked that I not disclose that year. She started work, and Mayor, you might even remember this, at Big Star Grocery Store over on Del Rio in 1981 under the supervision of Russell Little, who used to be a county commissioner here. While at Big Star, she worked as bookkeeper, cashier, grocery runner. For 12 years, she worked there. She started her career with our health department here in Williamson County in May of 1994, which actually was located back behind where our clinic was. And just to tell you how long ago that was, in that old clinic, there used to be a dedicated smoking room, a dedicated break room for smokers, okay? She was hired as a secretary and worked alongside her now supervisor, Tammy Mangrum, who, let me just add, Tammy just celebrated 40 years with the state of Tennessee and was just recognized. Brenda worked checking out patients, issuing WIC vouchers, death certificates, and so forth, all while using a DOS system. Okay, a DOS computer system, for those of you who, y'all probably know what that is. And what I'm sad to say is that we still use that system today. Okay. She was promoted to billing, insurance, deposits, posting payments, and other duties. And over the last 30 years, Brenda's seen many changes in public health including WIC vouchers, which were once handwritten before paper vouchers were printed electronically, and now we're on an EBT debit card. The transition from solely being a TennCare or a Medicaid provider to accepting private insurance now, offering dental services, birth certificates, cremation permits, and navigating an electronic medical record system in addition to our DOS system, okay? She has worked with numerous public health threats over her 30-year career. And let me just say, she has played a pivotal role in helping our clinic run smoothly and efficiently. And I'll tell you one thing, her attention to detail is unmatched by anybody in this county, which is why we love her processing our billing and insurance claims. Brenda, or BJ, as her friends and her patients call her, has compassion for people and a servant heart. We are blessed that she's chosen the health department to spend her career. So thank you, Brenda. You want to get a picture real quick? Mayor, can you come up here so we can get a picture real quick?
Sure.
You don't spend 30 years and not get a picture with the mayor.
No. If you don't think our employees mean something, just Kathy's voice cracking there at the end, that's a relationship that all of us should have with all of our employees. It is so touching, and Kathy, thanks for the thoroughness of explaining that many years she put in. And I do remember stars with the jumbo and all of those. So next we have is from our IT section, Mike Ramser, and Sean will be doing the presentation or introducing. Actually, it's funny as they're coming up here and getting the gift and the plaque. Sean, many of you know, has just recently been promoted to the director of IT, and Mike was actually got longer service than Sean does, but.
Good afternoon, everybody. We're here to celebrate 30 years. That's a pretty impressive feat in today's time. We were talking earlier, Mike predates Computer Network. He predates the internet here. He's seen a lot of changes in technology. There is nobody that is more dedicated to the service they perform that I know than Mike. He pays very close attention to detail. He always bites off new projects without batting an eye. And I'd like y'all to join me in thanking him for his 30 years of service.
Internet in here.
Thank you.
Turn down the internet so everybody pays.
Mike, before you go all the way back, just tell people when you came here what we actually had in terms of computers. If you don't mind just kind of sharing that. I'll put him on the spot, but it was unbelievable to hear his story.
And Mike, grab that mic on the table in between the cupcakes there.
We literally had the first 5 or 6 computers in our department, and they were all strung to each other with a wire. It predates the network or any servers or anything. And we actually, via that method, we actually shared each other hard drives. So when you were pulling files off somebody else's hard drive, their machine came to a grinding halt while you were accessing it. So we spent the first 3 years making all the maps, digitizing them in AutoCAD that were previously being done by hand. So, and of course, now all those maps are the basis for every department's data. So it's been interesting to see what's happened. And then we started the internet in '97, and it's
services together, or juvenile court at the same time. She was 1 year ahead of me, so I'll be 30 next year. We both started also when there were no computers and everything was handwritten. But she is I think I started in the clerk's office and was her coworker when her now 20-year-old son was born, and now is an employee, but I still think of her as a coworker. But she is reliable, dedicated. She always hates when I yell "and" at the top of my lungs because something has gone wrong and she can fix it. So, but again, I'd like to congratulate her and thank her and for her 30 years of service. Thank you.
I do want to correct the records, Margaret. You said you'd be 30. You meant years of service next year.
No, 30 years old.
If property assessor, there you are, Brad, back in the back, would you come up? You've got two of them today.
Y'all want to go together, don't you? Come on up. Well, like the others that were unprepared, this is my first time to have employees that had reached 30 years that wanted to be recognized. We've had 30 years since I've been in office, but they were so shy they refused to come down. And the other ones were during COVID years, so we did something very small in our office. But I'm going to start with Miss Candy Bennett, and it says her official name, Candy Bennett, on the front. On her birth certificate, it's Alina Gay, and that's Alina to me, Miss Lean. Whenever I was hired in '03, I started in personal property, and that's where Candy was. And to be completely honest, I've always embellished this a little bit, and I am now because of the way she's looking at me. I was always kind of scared of Candy, because if you didn't keep up your quota and you didn't do it correctly, you were going to let me know about it. Did you not train me? Do you not remember how hard you were on me? I remember. Back in those days, we were put in a lot, we talked about technology and how much things have advanced. Back then in personal property during busy season, we would come in at 6 in the morning or earlier and work till 6 p.m. And Candy was always the one to tell me if I was not there at 6 and it was time to go home at 6 p.m. She cared a lot about her work, is where I'm going with all this. So Candy has loved me on a personal level, my family, through hardship and exciting days. Candy has always been one of my biggest cheerleaders, and I am your biggest cheerleader in retirement. I hope you enjoy it as much as you have longed for it. I'm kind of mixed about this because she started a 1,000-day countdown to retirement.
At least.
About 1,000 day. She has already retired. But her first thing she said to us when she came in today was how much she has missed us. Candy, we have missed you already in your 2 months of retirement. But we hope that you continue to enjoy, and we appreciate your 30 years of service. Miss Lena Gay, or Candy Bennett. Now, much less emotional is Mr. Allen here. Cliff is a great friend to everybody in our office, but especially to me. Cliff's been here for 30 years now, but you can look at him, he's still a young man, right? He started very early like myself, and I was a little fearful when he hit that 30-year mark that he might be like Candy and jump, but he has stayed with us at least for a couple months past that 30 days. I feel like at work, you want to put people in places where they're going to enjoy what they do, give their talents, because ultimately that's how they're going to be most successful and make me look good as well. I have not been able to do that with Cliff. Cliff's talent is comedy. He has roasted a few of our former retirees, and I'm not brave enough to allow him to roast me, so he does not get the microphone today. But again, Cliff, like I said, it's family. That's what we're talking about with Candy, with Cliff, both to our office and to me personally, have been a great friend and a great benefit to Williamson County. Cliff, congratulations for 30 years and hopefully several more.
And now, Sheriff. Yes. Lieutenant Jim Handy, if you'll come up.
You want to do the? We'll do it before instead of after. All right, now that we got the formalities out of the way, this is my first opportunity to present an award of this magnitude, and Jim Handy has informed me that regardless, I will be his last sheriff to receive an award of this sort. So I don't know what that means, really. We'll see. Congratulations to all the recipients of the 30-year award. This is a tremendous milestone in your career. Jim, we're so proud of you at the Williamson County Sheriff's Office. You are an integral part of the successes that we achieve as an organization. Jim shared with me that he started in the jail, and he has spent his entire career otherwise in court services, which is really kind of unusual. Most folks move around a lot, but he has spent his entire time in court services, and he started in the historic courthouse. Obviously in the new courthouse now, but he's here today with his wife and his two daughters and his grandchild, who are on the back row back here. And Jim is the the second highest ranking. Didn't mean to scare you, Freddie. Didn't mean to give you chest pains back there. I know he's grasping his chest back there. He's the second highest ranking deputy in the courthouse. He is a lieutenant, and I will say in my short time in the sheriff's office, I get very little negative feedback coming from over at the courthouse. So those folks really take care of business, and I think that's a credit to Jim and his leadership role over the men and women over there. And I just want to thank you and congratulate you on a very successful career. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Well, certainly not last, I get the opportunity to say thank you to someone that's doing 30 years in Gordon Hampton. If Gordon would come up, I would appreciate it. And you get the formalities out of the way. So if I could say a few words about Gordon. Gordon and I go back a long way. Many of you remember the days of our recreation department was made up of just a couple of ball fields and a couple of gyms. And Gordon actually oversees one of the largest, if not the largest, operation we have in Williamson County government. It's not unusual for him to have 400 to 500 part-time employees from spring through the summertime, adjusting for the many flexibility of schedules. I will always remember Gordon, not as his boss, but coming up through the ranks. He worked very closely with Doug Hood, who's here today, which shows the kind of relationship we try to build in the county. I remember Gordon refereeing some ball with me. Not only softball, he tried. He wasn't very good. We put him in the infield. And because we tried him behind the plate, they would say he was blind. And then we tried basketball a while. He couldn't jump, he couldn't run, so both of us were referees, and that's why we did it. But on a serious note, Gordon has been very, very dedicated to this county. He works long hours. I mean, long hours. His phone is always on. When you're doing Parks and Rec, the way that he does it, like so many of you do every day, you give of your time, you give of your talents, but you sacrifice on the family side. And Lynn, his wife, and they've just done a marvelous job with raising their daughter, and I am so proud of Gordon. I'm proud of what he's accomplished. But above all, he's just a good, solid man. And he does what he says he's going to do, and he doesn't need a contract to do it. So, Gordon, thank you for your many years of service. Sounds like you're signing off, but you got some more work to do. And this county is better because of you and your hard work and training and developing your people. Thank you very much.
I can't get around a microphone and not say anything. It's just it's a bad habit. But I just want to say this. Being here 30 years, and Miss Anderson's in the room, well, I guess I'm just getting started, right? So anyway, excuse me. And Mike Ramser, years ago, we started a web page with Williamson County Parks and Recreation. And Mike, you know, like Sean was saying, he helped us with that. Mike, thank goodness you're not having to fool with it anymore because it's 900 pages. So, but you got us off to a good start. Freddie Moore's been a friend a long time. You know, all these people, Kathy Montgomery, Diane, everybody that I've worked with for these 30 years have just made it special for me. It's also special for me that Doug Hood's here today. You know, Doug hired me 30 years ago, and I'm forever grateful for that. At first, I came here, I'd worked for Metro Parks, and I'd worked for McKendree Church in downtown Nashville. And Bob Feinstein, who was Doug's deputy director, thought it was an old folks home. And so he thought, well, why do we want to hire somebody in Parks and Recreation that's worked at an old folks home? So I didn't get an interview. So I called, you know, and I'm like, guys, you're not going to give me an interview? So they brought me in, and thank goodness they gave me a job. And 30 years later, here I am. I want to thank my wife. You know, it's government work for people that do this and are dedicated to it. When you're getting started, you're oftentimes struggling because the salaries aren't great, but the love and the desire to serve the community has to be in your heart. It was in mine. But I was fortunate to be able to do that because my wife had a great job and has had a great career. She's worked for Nissan for 40 years, and she's going to be retiring in December. But she enabled me to do something that I was passionate about, which was work for Parks and Recreation. She had to go to night shift and work for almost 8 years and left me with a daughter. And Doug and people that know me, and Rogers knows this, here I am, and I'm taking her everywhere with me. At those ball fields, she hates sports now. She don't want to play anything. She saw all the gym time and all the ball diamond time she ever wanted as a young child. But Lynn, I never could have stayed in this career if it hadn't been for you and everything that you've done for Haley and I just, I love you to death for that. And I couldn't be any prouder also of the staff that has stuck with me and worked alongside with me for 30 years with Parks and Recreation. They actually make that department what it is today. We work 7 days a week. We open our buildings at 5 in the morning. We try to open the pickleball courts at 7, but sometimes we can't get people there, and then the mayor's office hears about it. So, we're not always perfect, but we try hard, and we're sometimes when you serve the public, you can't always make everybody happy. But we do the best we can, and we have brought this department a long way. So Doug, thank you. Lynn, thank you. Rogers especially, trusting in me to take care of this large department. I'm always indebted to you, and I will continue to work as hard as I can for you every day. All the other department heads that have supported us throughout all these years, it's been a pleasure to work with all of you guys, and ladies, still looking forward to doing that for a couple more years. Diane, I can't say enough about everything that you've done. You're a rock, and I depend on you for so much. You provide good insight. Claire, Jim, all the folks that are new to the team, thank you all so much for being here. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
One of the things you might do when you finally retire is preach, because I know you've got a calling for that when you make it very difficult on a lot of males in this room when you look at someone in the stage room and say, "I love you, honey," and that's a good symbol. So we are through. Thank you. I do want to close out before we tackle some of the food that we've got up here. To all of you that are aspiring to get to that 30 years, and if you're at 1 year or you're at 20 years, it means something. We have a great place to work, and we have a great place to retire. Oftentimes you don't hear that said to you by the general public. This is a good place to work and have camaraderie and friends and people that do care about you. I know every elected official, I know every department head, and I don't know any of them that do not care for you. Your birthdays, your anniversaries, your sadness, and we have a lot of that in our network of several thousand employees. So thank you for giving your time. Thank you for giving up your family oftentimes, but above all, God bless you. Stay with us. Now enjoy the cupcakes, put on some weight, and go work out at the gym.